I know someone who did low carb, and as soon as she ate carbs again, she ballooned up. So what's the point? If excess carbs made you fat and sick, then going back to eating them will do it again. But you don't have to go back. Many low-carbers refer to it not as a diet but as a woe, as in way of eating. They regard it as a permanent lifestyle change. An upgrade. If you're worried about failing at yet another diet attempt, take comfort in this. Studies have shown that people who backslide from a low-carb diet do not, on average, balloon all the way up again. Their base metabolic rate is at least partially repaired by time spent in ketosis. So, that's a silver lining. And there goes one big excuse for not trying. Unlike calorie restriction, going low-carb is unlikely to make your metabolism worse. Will going low-carb cause muscle wasting? Funnily enough, the opposite is more likely. All low-carb diets are low in carbohydrates. Within the low-carb category, there are specific diets that vary the ratio of fat to protein, but even the high-fat diets include protein. That protein intake protects against muscle wasting even when low-carb is combined with calorie restriction. Some low-carbers report periods of stable weight numbers on the scale. Muscle is denser than fat, and some low-carbers find themselves losing fat while gaining muscle with little effort. Nothing wrong with that. Gaining skeletal muscle and having actual body tissue to sustain life is only bad news for anorexia promoters. No breakfast. Do I have to skip meals? Of course not, but people who become metabolically flexible on a low-carb diet find it easier to increase their fasting period. That's the number of hours between last meal of the day and the one that breaks your fast the next day. The well-named breakfast, fasting, or time-restricted eating, like the low-carb diet, reduces insulin levels and allows, not forces, your body to burn fat for fuel. Remember that old say that everyone needs to eat breakfast to kickstart their metabolism, and then eat multiple meals plus small snacks throughout the day. Bad advice. If carbs put you on a blood sugar roller coaster, continuously stuffing your face only makes the ride longer and bumpier. Telling people with reactive hypoglycemia to eat more is also backwards. Reactive hypoglycemia can be an early stage of type 2 diabetes. You're skinny. Why are you low-carb? Low-carb diets reverse metabolic disease, which doesn't always make people fat. In fact, skinny people on the path to type 2 diabetes may be in worse condition compared to their friends whose bodies are adapting by increasing fat stores. Besides weight management, the low-carb lifestyle offers a buttload of other benefits. A buttload of benefits so vast, if I listed them all here, you would be in disbelief. But going low-carb can prevent or delay the onset of what a growing number of doctors are calling type 3 diabetes. You may know it as Alzheimer's disease. Research indicates the condition may be a diabetic one. Specifically, insulin resistance in the brain. Experiencing brain fog, the inability to concentrate or think clearly, is an early warning sign of this horrible, horrible disease. And a call to action. Metabolic disease affects every system in the body. It causes sick people to get sicker, as it harms one organ after another. I have type 2 diabetes, and I take medication. Isn't that enough? Medication will help manage some symptoms, but it will not reverse your condition. Medication cannot reverse a dietary disease. Only a dietary change can reverse a dietary disease. Type 2 diabetes is reversible. It doesn't need to be a progressive illness that only gets worse over the years. Clinical trials prove that low-carb diets are effective at reversing what was once seen as an incurable, progressive disease. Fun fact, old-timey doctors used to recommend low-carb diets to patients with type 2 diabetes, which was called sugar diabetes back then. Then injectable insulin came onto the scene, and patients were able to have their cake and pay for it, in more ways than one. The name change certainly made the culprit less obvious.